God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 18 of Your Journey Is Not Over. My name is Tanya Pearson Randolph. This is my own personal journey, and the expressions and opinions are of my own. I own all the rights to my personal journey and to Your Journey Is Not Over. Neither are to be used, copied, or edited in any way without my consent. Going back to the emergency room and, well, me telling who did the damage to my ear and my face. I'm sure it got documented, but nothing ever came of it. No child protection services ever showed up. But again, it was 1986. Now, I do believe there is some kind of rules or maybe even laws as to where, things like I had to endure, well, they must be reported. I don't think it was for me. I did have a follow-up appointment with my family doctor. The one I'd gotten so close to during my 2 stays in the hospital. I do remember that my mom, well, she made my dad take me. Of course she did. She didn't want to see my doctor. The one that had confronted her at the hospital. And now she had done more damage to me. So I'm sure he was the last person she wanted to see. And I am also quite sure the feelings were mutual by this time. I do remember him being upset and asking me all kinds of questions, and me trying to explain how this happened to me without me even seeing it coming. She caught me completely off guard. He did tell me, I pray, Tanya, I made the right decisions when it comes to you. I assured him I was going to be fine. I had my dad and only 3 more years to go, and I would be out from under her control. At least that was my 15-year-old's thinking and hoping. Truth was, I would spend most of my adult life taking her verbal abuse, being manipulated by her, made to feel guilty for things that were done to me, feel sorry for her, pay her bills, take her on trips, even buy her groceries. I know, how bizarre to me now, right? I took care of someone that never gave me 5 seconds. I provided for and done for a person, my mother, who left me without so much in my life. I bought food and made sure the exact same person who had left me to starve so many times didn't go without food. It had to be Stockholm Syndrome. That's all it could have been. She manipulated both me and my brother. The 2 people that she gave birth to and that could never depend on her for anything, we weren't allowed to depend on her for anything. But once we grew up, all at once, it was our job to take care of, provide for, and do for the same person. Our mother that never put herself out for 1 second, not 1 dime for us. How that got to be expected of both of us, I will never know. She played the same game on both of us, and she was extremely good at that game. She was a master manipulator. My brother and I were conditioned since birth, and I look back now and how my brother and I managed to have such good, loving, kind, giving hearts. I can say it must have been God, and of course, our grandma. And I thank God for my grandma every single day, as I'm sure my brother did also. Had it have not been for our grandma, we probably would have ended up, if we even survived with our mother. But I hate to think how we would have grown up to be. Self-serving, self-centered, and narcissistic, complete takers, and competitive with everyone in the world, I'm sure. When I say competitive, a lot of my family members are very competitive. It's almost like it's in their blood, always wanting to keep up or outdo what I call the Joneses, so to speak. Want to know my take on that? My name isn't Jones. I don't think my name's ever going to be Jones. So why in the world would I want to keep up with the Joneses? I'm in no competition with no one. I march to my own beat. I set my own pace. I always have. You know how when you run track or cross country and the gun goes off for you to start? Okay, again, my own little way of seeing things. The guns went off and everyone is off and running, and well, I'm just standing there completely lost. I don't even know there's a race going on, and I'm sure I'm not in that race. As I've always said, thank goodness those genetics must have skipped me. When I say competitive, it's not only been with material things. No. People have used their words to hurt or put me and my brother in our place. Keep us there. Lower than, less than others in our family. It's so sad that our family actually stood back and watched and condoned how we were treated by our mother. And a lot of family members, well, they felt the need to join in. Brag, upplay what their kids had and what we didn't. Almost by watching our mother treat us and talk to us horrible, it gave others the green light to do that to us too. My brother, God bless, well, he was more accommodating and would let little digs and things intentionally meant to hurt us. He would let things slide. Me, not so much. Once I got my voice, I would call it like I see it. I would call people out that were being hurtful on purpose. Again, being that quiet, withdrawn, voiceless, but let's never forget, observant child. I did get good at an early age at reading people, watching people's movements and facial expressions. And of course, always listening to how people worded their sentences. It tells you a lot about a person, or in this case, it told me a lot about people, family. We didn't need people purposely with intent and malice in their hearts to hurt us anymore. We needed love. We needed understanding. We needed safety. We needed protection. And for someone to stand up to our mother and correct her, make her take a look in the mirror, make her be a better person, a better mother, someone to make her take accountability for her actions, not overlook and take up for and look the other way. Or in our case, and yes, I'm speaking for both my brother and I on this. He sadly is not here to speak for himself. So guess what? It's my job now. I'm his little sister. Our family not only stood back and watched, they also contributed. Things that were done and said to my brother and I would have never been allowed or accepted by others to their own kids. Nobody was allowed to do or say those exact same things to others' kids. But it was a free-for-all when it came to my brother and I. Sadly. When you see kids struggling and being treated poorly, please be kind. Don't add to the pain or the mistreatment. Who in their right mind would? Offer love, kindness, safety, and grace to these kids. I know from my own personal experience, chances are that child will never forget you and will be forever grateful to you for that kindness, especially at a time in their life when it was needed the most. Again, be the light in the dark. Light the way. In this case, it could change a kid's life. Kindness changed my life, and I'm forever grateful to all that chose to be kind to me. Without even knowing how desperately I needed that kindness, there's still a lot of really good people in this world. So please, be one of those people. Here's what I chose to share today. And again, I hope it helps someone like it's helped me. It is merely a feeling, but a choice to serve, forgive, and uplift others, even when it is difficult. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. That's Corinthians 13, verse 7. Also, here's another thing I want to share. When we love as God commands, we become a light in the world. That so often distorts love's meaning. Through love, we fulfill God's greatest commandment to love Him with all of our heart, soul, and mind, and to love our neighbors as ourselves. That's Matthew 22, verse 37 through 39. This concludes my podcast for today. Please join me Tuesday, listen in, and always remember, your journey is not over. God bless.
God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been